cool. Does this show up on my channel? I never know how to actually get like live URLs. How do I share this freaking thing? Whatever. Oh, I said 120. Hold on a second.
Look what I got.
That's amazing. Where'd you get that from?
The surprise box.
Oh my gosh.
Compass.
I love it.
And my own knife.
All right, I gotta get back to work real quick. I love that. Okay. I'm gonna figure this out. Enable, create. There's probably some type of thing that would allow me to just like have it say it in via Twitter, just announce it. Anyway, if you're watching and you know, just let me know and we'll do that. Okay, so this is the URL, I think. Sure. Where's that red circle? Recording circle. All right, cool. 12:15, that's fine, that's close enough. We'll start. Okay, so I have my server running here. Yesterday, I feel like we did some, let's see. We need code and my face. Okay. Again, if you're in the chat, say hi. And if you notice that I'm on the wrong screen, hit me up because, that definitely happens. Okie dokie. So yesterday, I just want to recap. I think that we did some good work yesterday. I'm gonna go into this page. Okay. First off, welcome to another live stream. This is the third day in a row. This is super fun. I like doing this. I forgot how much I like doing it until I made myself do it again this week. So it's been fun. Hey, what's up, Tyler? Hey, welcome. Thanks for popping in. And so, yeah, this has been super fun. I've been enjoying this. It's a good way to spend my lunch break now that I'm not like, hanging out with people during lunch. I get to hang out with you. I love that. So yesterday we did some fun work on just reworking. On the right input, yeah. I'm just reworking this content. So this is reactpatterns.com. And I haven't touched it I haven't touched the actual content probably since I wrote it like 3 years ago. And I just thought it'd be fun to get reacquainted with some of the stuff that's out there. So yesterday we reworked basically this. Let's see, element, component, expression, props, and default props were all one section, or they weren't as clearly divided, and so we cleaned that up a little bit. I feel really good about it. We actually broke these down into single sentences. I actually have another thing that I've wanted to do, which is just have like JavaScript like vocabulary. So I was struggling yesterday with like whether or not these really belonged in this type of resource, which was a little bit more about like patterns. And so I think that now that these are fleshed out, I might actually take these out and put them in a different spot, and kind of like cross-link them. So anyone who's just interested specifically in patterns can look at this document, and then if someone needs more kind of like the language side of things, like what do all these terms mean, we can have service that in another document. But I feel really good about where all of that landed. And also today, let's see, we'll probably go, I don't know, I'll probably go to 1 o'clock. I started a little bit late today. Now, today we're going to be kind of going down a little bit further into this section. So we covered default props. We're going to go into destructuring assignment. Now, this is actually a JavaScript feature, but I felt like it was so, I guess, critical to the way people write React and read React, that it was important to cover. Now, there's actually, I feel like I cover the basics here, but something that I know is going to be more important as I document more patterns than I have in the past, is going to be like default. I can never remember the name of these things, but basically default values when you're destructuring something. Now, where this comes into play a lot for me is if I want to create a component using that as prop. It's a pretty common pattern these days for composition. We've had different names for it, like taking a component as a prop. As seems to be the one that people have latched onto in various libraries. And that kind of depends on an understanding of how the default values for destructuring assignments works. So we'll probably need to dive into that a little bit. I don't know if we'll do it this early on or whatever, but we will like kind of lead into that notion a little bit. So that's that. Now, as you saw, like I kind of like look at this as like a holistic resource. I want all of the things to kind of like flow naturally into each other and be well paced, so that they kind of information shows up just in time to understand the next section. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit and kind of reacquaint myself with what we're doing. So we cover all of the kind of basic syntax up here of just defining a basic component. Oh man, screen. Of basic components. So again, elements, component, expressions, props, and default props. Now, the next section that I have right now is destructuring props, which goes into JSX, spread attributes. Now, these are kind of linked effectively. When a lot of times when you destructure props, you're also going to kind of spread the rest of those props out somewhere. I know some people disagree with that pattern, but I find it important for a lot of like reusable components. So those are linked effectively. I have thought that it could be, I don't know if it would make sense to make a small component first, where I'm just spreading out all of the rest of the props, or spreading out all of the props first, and then talk about destructuring assignment. I think that could work. Yeah, just thinking through it. Okay, and then let's see. We have merge destructuring a prop with other values. So this is also in that kind of like same bucket of content. Let's see what else is there. So we have conditional rendering. So this is kind of yeah. So that's the end of those kind of like three pieces that are interconnected. Okay. Let's play with a few things. I think that these sections are gonna get pretty aggressively reworked. Also, they're just big sections. I mean, compare that to the work that we did yesterday, where it's like, do this thing. I'd like to maybe get away from kind of telling people a lot about what it does and kind of just link out to that and just tell them how to do it. So, I want to see first of all, what the state of destructuring assignment is in modern browsers. So we'll do like, can I use? MDN might be a good place for this. So if we go all the way to the bottom, okay, so no Internet Explorer, that's fine. Safari, interesting. Oh, so this is rest in arrays. Okay, so that's like when you do an array and then you, okay, no problem. So we have it on objects, which is actually great in Safari. Okay, cool. So I actually feel pretty all right about not going into this too much in terms of browser support. Yeah, it always kind of sucks in IE. I think that I can safely assume at this point that anyone who's like writing React either is using some type of platform that is obscuring these details for them, or is just kind of exploring it in a browser. And yeah, anyway, let's kill it. I think this was much more important information like 3 years ago than it is now. I feel like we've kind of like largely moved on, and browsers have caught up. Okay, cool. So that's gonna be gone. Let's just get those out of there, so it's less things to think about. Let's see. Destructuring assignment is a JavaScript feature. It was added to language ES 2015. Nobody gives a shit. So it might not look familiar. Don't care. Think of it as the opposite of. Okay, so again, yesterday I was really trying aggressively to avoid the like thinking about certain things, like, and there's plenty of resources that are gonna like teach you JavaScript. I just want to say like how you do something. Now we're actively avoiding arrays because that doesn't work in Safari, which is the only modern browser it doesn't work in. If we can safely call Safari a modern browser anyway, given that it's tied to an operating system version. So let's see. Destructuring assignment is a JavaScript feature. I feel like that's still important information to state, because I know a lot of times, particularly around destructuring assignment and the way that JSX spread attributes is a JSX feature, not a JavaScript feature. This does feel like important information. So we'll keep that. Destructuring assignment is a JavaScript feature. It gives us a chance to link out to that. Let's see, what resource do we got? Destructuring assignment, cool. They use arrays, whatever. Okay. I'm gonna get away from the like thinking of, like I said, kind of the general knowledge, and focus specifically on what we're doing in React. Again, start with a verb. And I'm curious if you're hanging out in chat, if you like referring to this as like our component or your component. I feel like maybe our is more friendly, but it really kind of like is I guess it makes the document a little bit more like self-aware or like focused on this particular thing, as opposed to something that you can do in your component. And this is just an illustration of that. I'm leaning towards your, even though it's less friendly than our, but I'm curious about that as a reader. Yes, using Safari. I actually use Safari as my default browser too. So I'd be hurting myself by talking about array, destructuring assignment, and rest in this document. Let's see. Okay, so a lot destructuring assignment. Okay, cool. Let's see. Lewis is pro. Your component. So that's 2 of us now. 2 versus 0. Um, okay, and we're killing the function component concept because I think they're just referred to components in the documentation now, which is great. I think that's a strong move. Component. Uses component declarations before. So what is it? Destructuring assignment is used in a lot, and I don't care. Okay, so we talk about rest right here. Rest parameter syntax. That feels like kind of in the new spirit of things. It could be its own section. And again, it really does feel like a lot of these are kind of like language concepts, in which case that really does feel like it could, all this whole thing, all of this that we've worked on so far could be moved into a different document, and then let this one really focus on patterns. Turn those off. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so what's the first thing that we're trying to do? We're just pulling name using destructuring assignment instead of property access. Okay, I'm going to finish this section, even though I think I might flip the sections. We'll just kind of write it, start writing. So so we say destructuring assignment is a JavaScript feature. Let's see. So you use it to local variables for props, for incoming props. Now, something that I do a lot is this line right here. These component declarations below are equivalent. And while they may not be literally equivalent, they are like at a high level equivalent in terms of like authoring components. They do exactly the same thing. And I like that because I don't have to talk a lot about what, excuse me, I don't have to talk a lot about what and why. I just get to say like these are the same things, and you kind of like parse out the difference for yourself. And I feel like that's fairly engaging. I know, at least for me, seeing documentation that has shown like this is the good version of this versus the bad version of this, or like these two things are exactly the same, has helped me, because they don't actually like express a judgment about a certain thing, but just kind of like this is a thing. So let's go with that. Destructuring assignment is a JavaScript feature. Use it to declare local variables for incoming props. Whoops. Wrong line. These component declarations, I'm not going to say below. We read top to bottom. That feels extraneous. I assume colon. It's always really kind of hard with code examples. Let me know if that feels like the right punctuation for that. It always feels weird to just let that hang there with a code example, especially one that visually hangs off the edge, but I do feel like that's probably correct. I don't know. Let's see, function greeting props.name, and then this one. Cool. I don't want to jump into the why. Yeah, let's make this another section. Or wait, so this is destructuring props. I wonder if this could be like, let's see what heading. Yeah. like props with rest, destructuring rest props. That's a question. I do feel like I would like to separate these because both of these are kind of like independently useful. I have plenty of components that don't allow for, like they only implement the interface of the interface, and because they don't have some kind of root element, they don't take the remaining props and spread them out. So I do kind of see these as two concepts. Yeah. With rest props. Nope. Deleted and wrote the same word. Destructuring props. Props. Okay, so these are all nouns. And I don't like ing. But this isn't, but destructure I don't think is actually a word. Destructure. Destructured. Okay, it must be. Because really the feature is destructuring assignment. Let's do that. Because this is kind of like the crossover of two concepts. We have props and then destructuring assignment. Let's go with that for now. Destructuring assignment and props. Let's see what the other section. Oops. See what some of these other sections look like right now. Children types, noun, 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 render, noun. Yeah, so these are all patterns, so they're going to be like nouns. Conditional rendering. That one's an outlier. Yeah, same here. Okay, so let's stick with kind of like feature name and it's like crossover. Okay, let's do rest destructuring assignment and props. Oh shoot, I realized that we do array destructuring assignment for hooks. So yeah, so that's going to be a pain in the ass. Yeah, this document's going to have to include array destructuring assignment for hooks, which I didn't have to think about in the last one. Okay, so we have. Okay, so we need to have array destructuring assignment and object destructuring assignment. So we have to have some high level concept of what destructuring assignment does. And the question is, do I relate that to a component or do I kind of like think of that as like a different section altogether? Like an example here is that we have different types of this right here. So you have children types, and we have array as children, function as children, and the render prop. And I think about those all like similarly. Similarly, there's these like different types of components. Okay, so I think that this is kind of becoming a larger section of like related patterns. I could do a much better job of organizing these. Might be worth doing that. I tend to like flat structures, but it does feel like there's some level of organization happening here organically, and I'd like to honor that. So let's try this. So let's take that out. Now, question is props versus objects. And again, this is probably something that's going to be a little bit more like lingo oriented than patterns, but yeah. I want to see how my auto formatter actually makes this look. Okay, so it didn't even recognize the depth there. I think that's in my next config. I'm flattening it out. Okay, so if I save that, I think I might need to restart. And it's weird to go to the grocery store these days. I've been going in the morning, like right when they open. And it's weird to go in the morning when usually in the morning everything's like crazy stocked up. And now it's like there's still things that are like there's none of them. It's weird. Yeah, this formatting's ugly as fuck. Okay, because I don't want to deal with that right now, I am going to turn this back to 2. Means I'm gonna have to restart my server again. And I will deal with that later. But I will put the head. I will use the correct headings for those, so that I can turn that on later and figure out the styling side of it. Okay, so now I'm curious if you're watching along, because this is a React resource, it feels fair to point the destructuring assignment feature at specifically a thing that we're doing in React. So not like destructuring assignment and objects, but destructuring assignment and props and destructuring assignment and hooks. I generally like to talk about things a little bit more like abstractly, but given the focus of this like document and like the spirit behind it, I'm leaning towards just doing it for specifically the React features we're using. I think that's fine. So I'm going to go with it. So we're going to say destructuring assignment and props. Let's see, what is this called? Rest parameter syntax. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do this rest. I can never spell parameter. Rest parameter syntax and props. It's going to be like a subsection. We're also going to have a section for now. One thing that's tricky is now with array, or now that we have hooks, I haven't covered hooks conceptually yet. And we're going to need to know what hooks are. Ah, shit. Okay, so I'm a little bit in a corner now because we need to know what the high level concepts of these things are first. Because like so we need what is it, destructuring assignment for objects, destruction rest for objects, but then also we need like hooks, but I haven't talked about hooks yet, so there's no like notion of like what a hook is, state, all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of forced, I guess, to talk about these things in the abstract if I want people to understand them for the other parts of the document. So I can't specifically talk about array destructuring assignment with props unless I am also willing to talk about array destructuring assignment or array destructuring assignment for hooks, which nobody knows about at this point if they're reading top to bottom. Interesting. Okay. It really does feel like the more and more I think about this, how it's like this is kind of like um, React patterns should be a non-linear document, but all of these things really are like linear concepts. Okay, we'll see. I am not the type of person to like boil the ocean though, so I'm gonna try to get it as good as I can right now, and then split that out later. Just let the faults continue on. Faults in my previous degrees of thinking. Okay, array destructuring assignment. Okay, so this is gonna have to become more literal or abstract. Sorry. Let's see. When we're doing it to objects, do we call it object destructuring assignment or is it destructuring assignment of objects? Basic variable assignment, separation, default values. Object destructuring. Okay, default values. Okay, cool. So we'll do destructuring assignment. We'll change this to object destructuring, which means we'll also need. Actually, let me leave that. We're going to just kind of like rework this. So this will be object destructuring. Array destructuring. Oh my gosh, if I can spell it. Object destructuring. Now rest. Let's see, rest. Okay, maybe we can do it like that. Rest in object destructuring. And again, you'll notice that I'm borrowing a lot from MDN here, and then also yesterday I was borrowing a lot from the React.js docs. I I feel like the point of some of these resources is one of the important things about just like making like any type of content is that you're kind of like distilling it down from like your perspective, like what are the most important things. I think both of these are really great resources, MDN and then also the React.js docs, but they're extremely technical. And what I really want to focus on is like just helping people do the thing. And again, like kind of linking out to the technical documents for a full, more rounded understanding. But like for me, the thing that's most important to me in all of these kind of things is just like, can you do it when you need to do it? So yeah, so I'm borrowing a little bit of structure from here, borrowing a little bit of structure from React JS .org, hopefully to help people kind of have like a more like just do it type of resource. Borrowing from Nike apparently too. Let's see, rest in array destructuring. Yeah, I wish that like sometimes this structure is going to be kind of interesting because it'd be nice to talk about one and then the other and then like talk about the third, which I might do, but because they're interconnected, there's maybe I will do that. We'll see. I keep saying I'm going to do something and then find more information and then decide to do it the other way. Let's see. Rest. Actually, I'm curious. I might be using this wrong, actually. Because this is rest parameters, difference between rest parameters and the arguments object. Yeah, so all this time I've actually been linking to the wrong concept. Because rest parameters is actually specifically for function arguments, which we're not involving ourselves in. With props and hooks, we're doing that on arrays. So rest parameter syntax is wrong. So we'll say rest in destructuring assignment. And I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this here because it's actually inaccurate. Put some dots in there. Interesting. I want to apologize to all of the people that I have misled for years on that terminology. Okay, cool. Man, I don't have a lot of time left before I gotta go back to work. Structuring assignment. Use it to declare local variables for incoming. Okay, so for objects and arrays. Now, I can't say incoming because I'm going to be using this for props as well as hooks. Use it to declare local variables from object properties and array elements. And then I link out to it. That's fine. I'm curious if I'm going to end up with more sections like destruct. I guess maybe this would be like a next, like a 2-level heading, like destructuring assignment and props. I actually kind of like that right now. Because with these as distinct sections, I could then do the hooks thing. So with the, I guess, like requisite understanding of these concepts, I can then place these directly above the places that are needed, which would be cool. So I'm going to keep that like that. We may end up commenting this out for time, but structuring assignment. Okay. So this is actually the props example. Unfortunately, I deleted my object destructuring example. Let's make one up. Let's see, let person last name Chan. Let's see, so then I can do let person okay, so that's how it would work. And then I wish there was a better way to show like output or whatever, but I don't know, this will have to do. I guess I need to console that. Oops. Man. Ugh. I don't like that. It's a lot easier with the props examples, isn't it? Okay. 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 Well, this sucks. I didn't get nearly as far as I had hoped to, but I'm definitely not going to finish this section today. So I'm gonna have to maybe do a little bit more tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'd really hoped to kind of like push these out every day. I think it's just such a like destructuring assignment is like there's just so much connected to it, and it's such an important concept for React. Like like quite literally, hooks don't make sense without array destructuring assignment. Like if you were like the the state is at element one, index 0, and then the function is at index 1, like you would never just have like my hook dot 0 to use as the state, and then like, or I guess, or brackets 0 to use as the state, and then like my state 1 in brackets to call as a function. It's just absurd. Um, so like these syntax things are understanding the syntax is important. I think it's also important to know that it's JavaScript. So it's pretty frustrating. But I do feel like this structure is going to be, wherever it is going to be good. So maybe if I can just get the structure today, that's a good place to start. So we have array destructuring assignment, rest destruction. Sorry, oh no, sorry. Destructuring assignment, object destructuring, array destructuring, rest in destructuring assignment. And then these sections are going to be kind of like more close to the thing, the things that they represent. Yeah. And again, I think all of this, I think literally every single part of this is going to move into a different document, because it makes less and less sense here. And with hooks, we have more and more actual patterns that we need to kind of document. So yeah, I'm thinking this is going to get split up. Okay, well, thank you so much for being with me today as I sort this part out. I think it'll be a lot more fun when we actually get to some of the patterns and kind of documenting those. So I am sorry that this was not more entertaining and a little bit more writing, which and content organization, which is never particularly interesting. Yeah. So that's it. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're healthy. And I will see you tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow's Friday. And I might just jump ahead and just kind of, we'll do a pattern just for fun, because this is grueling, even for me. So I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out.